Welcome to Podcast of All Podcasts. Enjoy best moments of podcast history.
Reeko, try and understand. It really is that bad. It won't just go away. The party's over. It's past 2 o'clock. It's about time we stopped, 'cause I see the keg has been sucked dry. Cisco emptied into the aquarium. The fish all seem to float. The X-Lax lines the dog bowl. The toilet's overflowed. We've had our fun, so there's nothing left. We got no place left to go.
Griffin with Russell Peters.
When they asked if I could come on and do stand up, I go, I don't know. Yeah, what does that mean? Do you not want, like, I don't know what the fuck you're trying to.
Yeah.
But whatever, I can't. Again, when I'm worried about this, just deal with it. Think good things are still happening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, you're a fucking fool if you sit there and focus on what you don't have instead of what you do have.
Yeah, but it's a weird thing. It's like it's such a weird to get into the entertainment business. It is all about trying to achieve something, and then we lose sight of the things that we've already achieved, trying to achieve this thing that might be unachievable. But also, who gives a fuck, right?
It's a poor way of looking at life. So
yes.
And how do you feel bad for a guy like me? You can. It's fucking impossible to feel bad for me.
Yes, I never.
No. I mean, like I
mean.
stop. I literally have the ability to step outside of my skin, look at me, and go, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
You fucking ungrateful dick.
Yeah, like if you're in the parking lot of the Comedy Store talking about, man, Comedy Central won't even take a meeting, and then people are like, man, you just drove up in a $250,000 car.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, that's what I started doing. I started looking at everything and going, did you ever imagine any of this would happen? No. Then what the fuck are you mad at, you fucking ungrateful beast?
That's good for you. It
is a revelation, like a self-realization where you gotta. You just got to.
It's hard to change at a certain age.
It is.
You get to 45, and it's hard to be like, "This is who I am.
Yeah,
I'm never going to change."
Yeah, you gotta make these steps if you want to be happier in life.
So when you started to really money's like not an issue anymore. Do you have a big family? Was it a thing where people were
No, just my mom, my brother, myself.
Oh, so it's easy to keep it tight.
Yeah.
No extended family, nobody hitting you up.
I mean,
Is that a hard thing to deal with?
People are hitting me up fucking. I could see
Everybody got $10,000 problems.
literally, fuck. I wish it was only $10,000 problems. I literally get hit up 3 times a day by people that aren't even that fucking close to me. I'm like, yo, man, hey, because I'm an empath. I'm an empath. So, you know, if I see another human and they're not doing well, I need to know how I can help you. But at the same time,
after a while,
but at the same time, I'm not a fucking idiot.
Boundaries.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, like if I can see that you need help, but you're not asking, I'll help you. But if you're blatantly just thinking I'm going to be the guy,
So if I come to you about my Lexus payment,
right? I'm like,
now you're that guy.
Yeah, basically, and I'm like. And everyone asks for outlandish amounts of money. Yo, it's $20,000, man. I just need $20,000. I go, oh, is that all you need?
Oh,
$20,000.
That's
it, huh? That's all, huh?
Wow, I have a lot of people, and I'm not rolling like that at
no,
all.
but you but again.
But I mean, but people have this perception. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they always come to me with these like business ideas and like,
I got this idea.
Yeah, I got this thing. Man, let me holler at you about this thing. And I'm thinking to myself like, what do you? I was on basic cable, man. Like, what do you think's happening right now?
Showtime too.
I went from basic to premium.
You've gone to streaming.
Yeah, I got to go to streaming. I got to get on network. But yeah, it's amazing how many people have these like weird money problems, and you just go, "Hey, man, I used to sleep on a couch.
I used to sleep on couches. I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like. Here's the thing. I'm 49 years old. I was broke for the first 35 years of my life. I know broke much better than I know money.
Wow.
But I like money.
Yeah.
But it's also never been my driving force in anything. And that's why when I get these kids come to me, go, I'm doing stand-up 4 years. Can you watch my set and give me some tips on how to accelerate? I go, accelerate? Motherfucker, you've been doing it 4 years.
Yeah.
What do you, so I could blow up? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Don't do this if that's your goal.
It's like when people come to me and they go like, hey, man, how do you get in at the Comedy Store? And when they say that, I just get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah.
Like it's like asking somebody like, hey, man, I want to be a neurosurgeon.
Yeah. Can you get me in at the hospital?
Can you get me in at it's like, no, this is a process.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that, I don't want to deal with you.
Or when people ask me, hey, man, how come we don't do movies? I know what, I forget to roll up on the movie sets and tell them I'm here. What do you mean why I don't do movies?
Beep, beep. You just want to honk. Yeah. You just honk the horn.
Hey, I'm here. Where's my role?
But you've done some movies.
I've done movies. I mean, it's whatever it is. You know, I'm just honestly, Eric, I'm in a different place where I'm really I really like the way things are.
Yeah.
Like all I ever wanted was the respect from my peers, which I feel is growing.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's funny that you say that. Even now, you don't feel you deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, but I would appreciate just to know that they go, hey, you know what, I may not be my kind of comedy that I like, but I can appreciate what you do, and I see that you work hard at it. You know, that's all I need to know is that you pay attention.
Yeah.
You know? Or if you think I'm funny, even that makes me feel even better.
Yeah, but it's like I always say like, if somebody's not my cup of tea. But I could still sit back and be like, well, somebody's drinking this tea.
Yeah.
You know,
I not for me, but I get why other people like it.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I mean, it's hard to. I still enjoy comedy.
Yeah, so do I.
You know, which is like a weird thing when you're a comedian. You know what I mean? Because it's like
I can't watch somebody special. I find it weird because now you're so entrenched in the game that you know the guy already or the girl, and you've seen them working out this material, so you're like, that's cool. You just want to see that. You just want to know they made it to where it's gotten to.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You're like, oh, it's good. I'll help you promote it because I'm happy for you, but I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, some of my good friends is like, I remember watching one of Chris D'Elia's specials. Mm-hmm. I just turned it on to see, and I was like, oh, I'm in the OR right now. You know, You know, it was like the same kind of thing, and I was like, oh, good for him that he's capturing that same. And I was like, well, I don't need to see this anymore. I've seen. I know these jokes.
Yeah,
I get it. Good for you. Moving on to the next
Sebastian's
thing.
fucking huge.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, right.
And
you're fighting for him for the Forbes list.
Nah, fuck that. I want him to be on there. I want him to win. I love watching people win. That's the part people don't get about me is I want the more people that win, the less pressure is on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when Sebastian's winning right now, I fucking love it. I text him all the time, like, congratulations. Really?
Yeah, he's doing great, man.
I saw him last night at the in the OR.
Yeah,
but he was on stage, so I left.
But that's the great thing about like what's going on at the Comedy Store right now is that
it's insane. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, like it's like this like renaissance like we were talking about earlier. It's like here we are at this time that it feels like it may not be as great of a rise as it was in the early '80s, mid '80s, but there's
like
late
'70s to mid '80s. We're living in that right now.
Yeah, it's something's
it's fucking
happening.
incredible.
And if you have to get the chance, guys, you got to get out to the Comedy Store and watch what's happening right there.
Yeah.
And then also with the rise of podcasting, like even some of these people that we see on the walls right now, R.I.P. Brody, and like Bert and Bill, Bobby's podcast. He's blowed up. Ari.
Sammy.
Felipe, yeah. I mean, it's amazing what's happening, and it's
Lolly?
all
The doll pop. Who's that? Who's the dollop?
I don't know who those
the doll
guys are.
pop. The dollop.
But they got a huge podcast because they're
Perfect.
on the wall here at All Things Comedy. I'm not even on the wall.
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
Wait, you're right there.
Well, I mean,
You're on the TV.
they changed that. You know what I mean?
Shh, don't talk about that.
So I know you like to fight. I know you're a fighter
I
guy.
don't like to fight. I just know how to fight.
Yeah. One night we both had fights
I heard about that.
at the same night.
That was about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, somebody tried to punch you at the Laugh Factory.
No.
And I got attacked on stage at the Comedy Store.
I was at the
Same
Laugh
night.
Yeah, I was at the Laugh
Laugh
Factory.
Factory, yeah.
And 2 guys were talking shit to me while I was on stage, which is fine. But it's the difference between fuck you and fuck you.
Yeah.
And they fucking glare at you. And there's 2 of them, and one's a big guy, shaved head, big fucking muscle guy. And I'm like,
What did you do?
and I'm like, huh. And I used to box, and I trained jiu-jitsu, so I'm like, really? And I'm like, if I wasn't angry and I saw that big dude, I'm not fucking with him. But angry Russell, I don't give a fuck. And so I get mad. I walk off stage. The club comes up like, sorry about those 2 guys. They were being disruptive all night. They were drunk, causing problems. We kicked them out. And I was like, all right. But I'm, so heated.
Yeah.
So I wait about 15, 20 minutes for them to leave. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. So I go to leave. And when you leave in the Laugh Factory, you go down that aisle, and the big dude's standing at the end of the aisle, leaning against the wall. As soon as I saw him, one pop right in his body. And as soon as he dipped down, I put him in a cross-collar choke. Whoop, whoop. And I put him in my palm. I'll fucking choke the shit out of you. And he goes, it was the other guy. And I was like, oh, you're a pussy. Get out of here. And
Is that when you knew you made a mistake?
No, that's when I was like, no, that's when I knew they made a mistake. And then I walked outside, and the guy that was doing all the talking was sitting in the security guy's chair as you walk out the club. So I didn't see him. I walk out, and I'm standing there because I'm going to go get my car. And taps me on the shoulder. He's like, no hard feelings, huh? And I was like, you motherfucker. I went,
God.
whack. And I cracked him, but I didn't like the way I hit him because I used to box.
Right.
And that day I was sparring earlier in the day. So when I was sparring, we were working off a hook off the right hand. So I was like, wow, wow. So
You had to hit him. You had to hit him again.
yeah, so I didn't like the
You're
way
a monster.
the punch didn't hit like this. The punch hit off the corner,
Ah.
which bothered me because I'm like, oh, you should have been asleep with that first punch, right? Like you should have been asleep if I hit you with that punch. So then I did that. I didn't like it, and then I just turned and hooked. Wow. I hit him right with a left hook, and then his teeth went through my knuckle.
Oh man.
And it cost me money later on in life. But
Was it worth it?
yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but so you, like I say, you train, right? You're doing the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? Are you still
Just
doing
jiu-jitsu.
Just jiu-jitsu.
Just
Isn't that
jiu-jitsu.
kind of dangerous? Like
No, it's
I'm
not.
saying like I'm talking about like you could get injured though.
No, you can, but that depends on where you're training and who you're training with. I mean,
Oh.
they know you're not like like you're not doing this because you got a UFC
Yeah.
fight coming up.
Oh, okay.
They know you're doing this because you love the art of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I want
Like
to try
I want
this.
to learn it and master it. It's a wonderful thing. And
I started boxing. I've been
Yeah.
boxing, and it's it's such a
yeah, I mean, I boxed
Such
for
a
9
rush.
years, and I went and boxed in December at the Goosens gym. I trained with Ricky Funes one day, and I hadn't boxed in about 3 years. And I remember leaving going, fuck me, my hands hurt, dog.
yeah.
Like I was like,
When I
ow.
first started doing it, I was like,
my knuckles, my hands, my forearms, my elbows. I was like, I can't do this no more. Boxing's not for me no more.
So
I
you-
love the sport, but I can't do it anymore.
so you're saying that boxing is more taxing on the body, say, than jiu-jitsu?
Absolutely.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you could be a jiu-jitsu master, and there's a man in my gym named Yoshi. He's 73 years old, older Japanese guy. He's a black belt. He trains every fucking day, and he will tie you in a pretzel like that.
Yeah, I think that's the next thing I want to try.
You would love it.
Yeah, I want to try it. 'Cause
I dropped 22 pounds doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But you were doing it every day?
I do it every other day.
Every other day.
Yeah. I would have done it today, but I didn't have time because I had to do so much other shit to do.
Right. Yeah, I need to. I'm trying to find the.
I'm trying to get everybody in it. Bert and Tom want to do it. and Steve Byrne wants to try
I
it.
would love to see Bert doing.
They were in a
jiu-jitsu.
group chat. They texted me today. Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura. They were like, "I want to train like next week." And then Tom's like, "I'm not in town till the week after." And I'm like, "Well, just come through, Bert. I'll take you with me." It's fucking great.
Do you go to like a?
Joe Rogan with Dom Irrera.
Ask you again because you did me the favor, and I don't want to push it. But the fact is, we had Jamie to fuck around with that time. So no, I'm not going to really nail you on an interview, make you.
Oh, you mean on your podcast?
Yeah.
That's different. I do friends' podcasts all the time, but it's like interviews and real shows and stuff like that. It's like
you got nothing to gain, Joe.
Yeah,
you're famous enough, and Daniel's right. I mean, what are you going to get good out of that? Like doing Jimmy Kimmel. Doing 5 minutes. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to do the stand-up, even though it's your favorite thing. And then you go over to the panel, and I like Craig Ferguson only because it was improv.
Right. Well, I think that sitting down and talking to someone should be like this. You really want to get to know somebody?
Oh yeah.
You should talk to him like this. Have a real conversation with him. Having a conversation with someone when you're under the gun of 5 minutes and there's a band there and you're sitting sideways and you're at the desk and I'm sitting over like this and we're talking about some project that I'm doing. It's like a quick pitch. You have like a quick story that you can tell and just.
So I understand you rent a car when you come into town. What's that like?
That's funny, Dom. I do rent a car and I always take the insurance. You know why? Because I drive like a fucking maniac.
You people here on Highway 95, what are you, nuts?
What is going on with the drivers in Los Angeles? You turn to the audience.
I did Ferguson's show once and he gave me the wrong plug. I had already worked that the Denver club that you like so much.
Comedy Works?
Yeah, I'd already worked that, and they plugged it on. I said, I came out, I said, Craig, you got a really crack staff here. I already worked that gig. I said, but I'm so hot, I'm white hot in this business, they have to post-plug things so there won't be a riot, right? And he said, well, we'll just start it over, because they're filming it. And I said, no, I got a spot in a couple hours. I ain't starting it over. And we got like in a fake argument. It was the most fun I ever had doing live stand-up. Because I said, let me go sit in your high chair and judge me like a little joke monkey, and then I'll come over and we'll say funny stuff there, too.
Well, he's just doing stand-up now.
Yeah,
and
he's got a podcast.
A show. Yeah, it's on Sirius, too, as well. Yeah. But he just got tired of doing his show.
Wasn't his name Hitler something?
Whoa. Really?
No, I think so.
His name's Hitler? Craig Ferguson? What kind of a fucking asshole for a parent? If you're born with the name of Hitler, I don't care how far you get away from that.
I can't remember the whole name, but I think Hitler was in the name.
In the name? Like Hitlersburg?
I don't know.
Hitlerstein?
He's Scottish, right?
Yeah.
He's got something.
What is it?
It says a Bing Hitler. It was like
What?
something he did in the 80s, looks like. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, Bing Hitler.
Yeah.
Oh, was it a character that he was doing?
Character,
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we could play it. Oh,
Look at
Jesus
that.
Christ, look at him.
That's
He
hilarious.
looks like he's 12. He looks like he's a kid in school.
He
Look
really
how
does.
young-faced he is with his fake act, with his hair all fucked up. Give me some volume.
Everywhere.
Wow.
Sometimes they get everywhere.
That accent's insane.
So much thicker,
But
isn't it?
even in drinks now.
Wow.
That stuff, mezcal from Mexico.
Wow.
What the fuck is that about?
So he had a character.
Yeah.
That was the character that he'd do. And the character, he would go crazy with it. Yeah. Well, there was a time, and there still kind of is still a time, where we're enthralled by mediocre people with fake accents.
Yeah.
Not fake accents, but, accents from other places. Foreign accents, I should say, not fake.
Also, it's like the thing that bothers me, and I love stand-up, and it was when a guy acts so different, or like all of a sudden he goes into this character.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the funniest guys to me are guys that do characters, but they're themselves.
Yeah.
And they talk real, and that's why, you and Burr, you're the same guys on and off stage. When we're talking, sometimes you get silly, sometimes you're serious.
Right. But just be yourself, yeah. I know what you're saying. Be sincere.
But you can be just as fucking goofy as you want, but don't stay in that.
Yeah.
It's so hacky to me.
It can be. I'm always waiting for someone to do it right. I don't want to pass judgment. Like maybe one guy comes along and he's in character all the time, but it's fucking hilarious.
Oh,
It's possible.
I just watched Jim Carrey on when he did Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
It was fucking amazing.
Oh, that was the documentary.
No, that sprang from that. But I was
Right.
watching the movie last night. I forget what it's called. Something.
Man on the Moon?
Yeah, Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
Boy, Jim's good.
Oh, it's brilliant. You know what's really interesting with him? He's taken like a severe psychological and I guess philosophical turn where he's just thought about life and things. He must have had like some psychedelic experiences too.
I think so. Sounds like it.
Yeah, because he's just talking about like what matters and what doesn't matter. And you know, and there's just a bunch of like interviews and clips of him discussing things where you're like, whoa, like this guy he's not talking like Jim Carrey, the world famous A-list actor who's had gigantic smash movies. He's not talking like that at all. He's like talking like some guy who's just trying to sort of understand his place in the universe.
Yeah, he really is.
Really profound way. He's a very well thought out guy.
Did you watch this thing about him painting?
No.
This came out a couple months ago.
Oh, didn't we play this where some of his paintings are really cool? They're like in neon and shit.
Yeah, but he says some of the stuff that he's been thinking about and dealing with and whatnot.
So it's called I Need Color, and it's on Vimeo.
Yeah.
So folks, go check that out.
Joe, did I tell you about the little part I have in I'm Dying Up Here?
No.
Okay, so I play Fitzy Anderson because they wouldn't let me use Fritzy Anderson. Remember Fritzy Anderson?
No.
Is this thing on? Hello? Is the
your
sound system
character.
working here? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me. Parents,
Why wouldn't they let you do
They
that?
said Fritzy was a slur to Germans.
What?
Yeah, I swear.
Oh, Jesus
I know.
Christ.
So anyway, I go in the Comedy Store on a Thursday night. Why I was there just to practice. I know, trying a couple lines and doing some shit. And Jim's in the audience. He comes out, he hugs me. Anyway, long story short, he was with his wife, his ex-wife, and their daughter was ill, and she's a great girl. She's a really good singer too, by the way. But anyway, they start talking. He said, I forgot how fucking funny Dom was. He goes, I want to put him in this show. And Melissa goes, well, I'll tell you one thing. He's not going to dance for you. You want him? I'll ask him, but he ain't going to audition. He goes, I'm not going to make him audition. I've known him for fucking 30 years. Anyway, that's how I got the part. Isn't that funny?
Just randomly.
Randomly. He came in to look for young comedians. I am not one of them. If you could tell by my receding hairline. But, yeah, I mean, isn't that amazing? I mean, just there on a Thursday night, randomly.
Is that show still going on?
Yeah, we're shooting. They're shooting 10 more. I know I'm doing an alcoholic the whole time, which is.
I never watched it. I watched one episode and I thought it was pretty good, but I heard that it
got better.
Yeah, I heard that it was improving. That's what I heard.
Well,
all those things started off
Yeah, do you remember
clunky.
Seinfeld at the beginning?
I remember News Radio, the show I did in the beginning. It was clunky.
Yeah.
It took a while to really get rolling.
Yeah, to get the rhythm.
Become what it is.
Yeah.
Sitcoms are very difficult. You know, I mean, one of the reasons why people are like, why aren't there any good sitcoms in the air? Well, goddamn, it's hard to do.
Well, this is a serious one. Like, I'm kind of the comic relief on this because it's about like comedians, but not like, when we goof around. Hi, show us a frog.
Right.
You don't see hardly any of that. You see them more like jealous of each other, and they're showing the dark side of it. The woman who plays the Mitzi part is Melissa Leo. She won an Academy Award for some boxing movie, I forget. But she's playing Mitzi really serious. And I don't want to say anything, because she's a great actress. But if I were asked to give one note, I would say Mitzi really had a fun side to her. Mitzi, by the way, for those of you that don't know, was the owner of the Comedy Store.
Pauly Shore's mom. She brought us 2 things. One of them was awesome. No, just kidding.
Has he been on the show?
Yeah, he's been on. Yeah.
I
like Pauly. He's a sweet guy. He's a good guy to be around. Like, he gives people hugs and shit. And like all of us.
Yeah, he's trying. He's trying
growing.
to grow up.
Yeah. Well, he had a hard life. I mean, can you imagine being babysat by Sam Kinison?
No.
I mean, what in the fuck? Kind of crazy shit is that?
Argus Hamilton sleeping with your mom.
Argus and Sam Kinison hanging around your house. Everybody's doing blow.
Yeah.
And you're going, what, buddy? It's the weasel. He was gigantic at one point in time.
Who's Sam?
Well, Sam was for sure, but so was Pauly.
Oh, Pauly, yeah.
Pauly was gigantic.
Was it the Weasel?
I mean, when he was doing movies like In the Army Now with Andy Dick, remember that? Jesus Christ. It was huge.
He had a 3-picture deal. And
Encino Man, that was another one. Biodome, remember he did Biodome?
Yeah.
With Stephen Baldwin. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Don't look at me like that.
Son-in-law. I hear some people talk about son-in-law all the time.
Yeah, he's fucking funny. Those movies were fucking funny.
Yeah, he
I
is
don't know
funny.
what he did wrong or where it went wrong, or sometimes like I think people just get bored. They just want some new person, right?
I'll tell you who's hot right now is Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, dude.
I love that
I
girl.
call you Jew. Jude. I was trying to
Jew.
I was trying to say
She's
dude.
Jewish, by the way.
Is she?
Yeah, she's Ethiopian Jewish.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
Tiffany Haddish is the person who told me about sickle cell anemia being related to malaria. That people who have a resistance to malaria develop the trait for sickle cell anemia.
Wow.
And that's where the origins of it are, apparently. Isn't that crazy?
It's primarily a Jewish and a black disease, right? More,
Is it a Jewish disease
more
as well?
Jews and blacks get it than any other
Oh, that's
group.
interesting. I did not know that. I thought it was just blacks. I had a friend of mine who died from it. My
Really?
friend, yeah, my friend
Hey.
Walter. Yep. From back when I was fighting. I remember
And I would love to see you fight, Joe.
I was a different guy, man. I was very intense. I wasn't very funny.
Did you ever think you'd be a comedian when you were in those days?
No. I didn't think I was funny. I made people laugh, but the people that I made laugh were all psychos. They were all like guys that I was training and fighting with.
Right.
And I was just like, I felt like we were all freaks, because we were martial artists that were traveling literally all around the country and entering into these full contact tournaments. And
You don't
it
have
was
any video?
terrifying. I have some video. There's a video of me on YouTube,
Really?
me knocking somebody out.
No kidding.
Yeah, when I was 19 in Connecticut.
You think you could beat me in a
Basketball
fight?
court. No. I couldn't. I love you too much. I just hold you.
Well, you know what you do, which is really interesting for a guy that's strong. You never.
That's me right there. This is me in the blue, and I kick that guy and launch him.
Oh,
That's all I have. I have some
great.
other video on my computer somewhere of some like uneventful round of some Taekwondo tournament. There's a guy out there who's got a couple of videos of me though, and he and I have gone back and forth on.
what weight were you?
That was 154. When I was in senior year in high school, I fought at 140, and that was too light. It was too hard for me. I was always dehydrating myself, and I would do things in the shower, like jump up and down in the shower and shadow box in the shower with the hot water on and try to sweat out weight. Mm-hmm. I couldn't eat for like a whole day, and then I would fight that day, and it was terrible. I did that for 1 year.
That sounds horrible. My
Yeah.
father was a professional boxer,
Yeah.
and but he was the bad thing about it. He was a 500 boxer.
Oh no.
And boxing, 500 in baseball, you're the greatest player ever. But boxing, you got to be like 800, at least.
Yeah, especially to make a living.
When
right?
he won, he would come home beaten up.
That must have been hard to see. You see
Yeah,
your
it was
dad come home
horrible.
all fucked up. Yeah. I see people that fight in the UFC, and their kids come to hug them, in the cage, and you see the terrified look in their children's face, and they're looking, the guy's eyes all fucked up and swollen, and cuts, and it's a different type of human being that does that.
I had so much fun though the time.
Whoa, I get your hands in the air and get the clapping them and like back and forth because this is what you thought it wasn't. It means the brothers representing the 30 dozen. I mean the FO, the double G. And check out my man, he goes by the name of Thunder.
Slim Shady, brain dead like Jim Brady. I'm an M80, you little like that Kim lady. I'm buzzing, dirty dozen, naughty rotten rhymer. Person that you play is worse than Morty Schottenheimer. You whacking in the motherfucker you bitch your style from. You ain't gon' sell 2 copies if you press a double album. Admit it, fuck it, while we coming out in the open. I'm doing acid, crack, smack, coke, and smoking dope then. My name is Marshall Mathers, I'm an alcoholic. I have a disease and they don't know what to call it. Better hide your wallet, cause I'm coming up quick to strip your cash. Bought a ticket to your concert to come and whip your ass. Bitch, I'm coming out swinging so fast that'll make your eyes spin. You getting knocked the fuck out like Mike Tyson. The proof is in the pudding, the stats that Sean Holman. I'll slit your motherfucking throat worse than Ron Goldman. So when you see me on your block with 2 blocks screaming fuck the world like Tupac, I just don't give a fuck. Talking that shit behind my back, dirty Mac and telling your boys that I'm on crack, I just don't give a fuck. So put my tape back on the rack, go run and tell your friends my shit is whack, I just don't give a fuck. But see me on the street and duck, cause you gon' get stuck, stoned and snuck, cause I just don't give a fuck. I'm nicer than repeat, but I'm on a search to crush a milk bone. I'm everlasting. I melt vanilla ice like silicone. I'm ill enough to just straight up dish you for no reason. I'm cold in the snow season when it's 20 below freezing. Flavor with no seasoning. This is a sneak preview. I dish your magazine and still won't get a weak review. I make your freak leave you. Smell the Folgers crystals. This is lyrical combat. Gentlemen, hold your pistols. But I form like Voltron and blast you with my soda missiles. Slim Shady. Eminem was the old initials. Extortion, snorting, supporting abortion. Pathological liar, blowing shit out of proportion. Illumious, zanious, spontaneous, sporadic. Impulsive thinker, compulsive drinker. Addict, half animal, half man. Dumping your dead body inside of a fucking trash can with more holes than an Afghan. So when you see me on your block with 2 Glocks, screaming fuck the world like Tupac, I just don't give a fuck. Talking that shit behind my back, dirty Mac and telling your boys that I'm on crack. I just don't give a fuck. So put my tape back on the rack. Go run and tell your friends my shit is whack. I just don't give a fuck. But see me on the street and duck, cause you finna get stuck, stolen, snuck. I just don't give a fuck. Somebody let me out this limousine. I'm a cage demon, on stage screaming like Rage Against the Machine. I'm convinced I'm a fiend, shooting up while this record is spinning. Clinically brain dead, I don't need a second opinion. Fuck dropping a jewel, I'm flipping the sacred treasure. I bite your motherfucking style, just to make it fresher. I can't take the pressure, I'm sick of bitches. Sick of nagging bosses, bitching while I'm washing dishes. In school I never said much, too busy having a head rush. Doing too much rush, had my face flushed like red blush. Then I went to Jim Beam, that's when my face sprayed. Went to gym in 8th grade, raped the women's swim team. Don't take me for a joke, I'm no comedian. Too many mental problems got me snorting coke and smoking weed again. I'm going up over the curb, driving on the median. Finally made it home, but I don't got the key to get in. So when you see me on your block with 2 Glocks, screaming fuck the world like Tupac, I just don't give a fuck. Talking that shit behind my back, dirty Mac and telling your boys that I'm on crack. I just don't give a fuck. So put my tape back on the rack. Go run and tell your friends my shit is whack. I just don't give a fuck. But see me on the street and duck, cause you finna get stuck, stolen, snuck. I just don't give a fuck. Shit, fuck every outsider. Pace 1. Young Z.
Frankie Boyle with Russell Brand.
For existentialism. Originally, I think it's only since the 90s or whatever that people have started to see it as a kind of death cult.
Because it becomes a bit decadent and hedonistic. Oh, well, there's no purpose. Might as well stick this up my bum and kick that vase over.
Yeah. I mean, I think as well, you have to be careful about saying, let's have a narrative and let's have a thing where we... There's a thing where Alan Moore, the comic book writer, talks about art is propaganda for a state of mind. It was really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. But at the same time, you got to be careful with that, because who do you propagandise to? You don't propagandise to your equals. It's not persuasion. It places you in a hierarchy of, well, we're going to design a narrative that, you know, poor people are going to fit into, and this is going to make the world better. And the thing with that is, people can see it. If you don't approach it from a position of equality and going, well, how can I help? Then, you know, you're suddenly putting yourself in a hierarchical position of, how do I create this story that's going to work? Which is what most political parties are doing, and what most like really politically motivated commentators are doing. And I always sort of think people see that. People see that you're trying to politicise things.
I see. I'm a bit grandiose, of course. So, like, I'm always sort of thinking, oh, I've got something. But I don't know, Frankie. It feels like it's an essential part of me. I say sometimes to my counsellor, I know much of what I do is driven by ego. I know it is. But it's not only that. There's something else. There is. I admit that there's the ego. I admit it. There's the grandiosity. I admit I want the adulation. And in the past, I wanted its more obvious anatomical manifestations, carnal manifestations. But like all of these, I have now been stripped and landed in domesticity. And don't think I've ever been happier than being a father and a partner in a recognisable sort of way. But still, this yearning that seems to me to be, not that perhaps these systems of categorization and these delineations are also arbitrary, but seems to be more than ego, super ego plus, something of the mystic, something of the magical, something that I'm still craving.
Well, I think you'll find this reductive or nihilistic, but it's not. I think it's a good thing. You know, like David Icke,
course I do.
Right, so like David Icke
You'll be here in a minute.
you know things like so a lot of people are lizards. A lot of various people in power and sort of country and western singers for some reason are lizards, right? But I sort of see like David Icke's kind of like a religious figure. So he's like a guy who's had a religious experience, but he's a goalkeeper, right? So he frames it in a particular way. And it's kind of like the guy who wrote the Bible has to believe the metaphor is real. Yeah. So, like, that's why it has its power. David Icke has to believe, like, they're not reptiles, but it's a good way of thinking of them because they behave like reptiles.
That's right, and he does have to, as you say, because you've met David Icke, haven't you?
Yeah.
I've met him several times, and I'm obviously fascinated by David Icke. There's so much of what he says. I mean, he preempted a whole lot of stuff, didn't he? Like loads of things he said were going to happen. Let's not mince words. Paedophile rings. David Icke said there's all within the entertainment industry. There's this paedophile ring. It runs deep. People in children's homes. Right now, admittedly, that was bookended with a lot of lovely stuff about lizards. But I agree with what you're saying. Is that it's almost like unconscious metaphor. Like because David Icke, if pushed, will go no, they're lizards. Funny.
But see, I think that maybe the messianic thing is that. So you have to understand it as a kind of, I can totally change the world by doing this. But to have your actual effect on whatever it is, a few thousand people that you energise, you have to believe that to be true.
So if Hitler suddenly had the sort of a moment of going, oh no, this is mental. I'm not Hitler.
Maybe Hitler meant to be metaphorical. He's like, no, can you see?
Yeah, this metaphor you've done, the death camps for a start. They're a bridge too far.
Death camps.
Yeah, like we're all dying, like necropolitics. Who's it okay to kill and not to kill? Oh, we've built one. Oh, no. Like perhaps he had a Frankie Boyle moment of looking at his own Sieg Heiling hand and like you writing on a chalkboard and going, oh no, I am Hitler. Shit. Get that hand down. What have I done to myself? You have to believe them. You have to take the metaphor out of it. It has to be absolute and real. Yeah, when I sort of spoke to David Icke, I've loved so many of the stories, and I love some of them are well vivid. Have you read some of the ones where it's like Hillary Clinton going down on someone and all this? Because you think, whoa, man, you're going for this stuff.
You read like the Queen Mother turns into a giant kind of white albino lizard, particularly vicious, and there's one that where she changes into this big white lizard and stabs a kid up the arse. It's like just the start of a chapter. Where'd you go from there?
Where are you going to go from here? Never explain, never complain, isn't it? Well, she had some catchphrase, the Queen Mum, never apologise, never explain, or something like that. Yeah. Well, surely you should after you've turned into a bloody great giant albino lizard and bummed someone, particularly if it's an underage person who couldn't possibly have consented, Mum. Yeah, he had some rich stuff in there, some interesting things. What did it come in? What did you think when you met him, mate?
I was in Portsmouth. And he just seemed like a pretty normal dude, but there was this mad fan had kind of got backstage and was talking to me, and David Icke was stuck behind him in the corridor looking at me like, this bloke's a nutter.
Let's get away from this weirdo. Right now, then the Queen Mum bummed another kid. Right, that's it. She was a phoenix that time. What I found fascinating is as I say, this I wouldn't like to be mean about David Icke. It's so colourful, some of this imagery that when I met him, I was just surprised by actually quite how sort of ordinary he was, and almost humdrum. We watched football with him, and we went Isle of Wight, right? And I think it was a FA Cup game, so it was sort of a couple of championship level teams, and him and his lad were just no, they need to be playing a bit wider. And so it was really weird. He just sort of sat there drinking tea and being sort of very ordinary while sat on this, this sort of great volcano of lucid imagery and powerful mythology.
I think the mundane is hugely underrated because they've got stuff to sell us all the time. But imagine how much better Harry Potter would be at a comprehensive. If it was just about a kid and his teacher having to get a bus out to the edge of town to fight some demons or something, and it just all been a real chore, and them having to top up their Oyster cards. Much better.
You think that in the ordinary, in the real, there could be somehow more potency?
There's really good. Have you read those children's books? Alan Garner, Weird Stone of Brisingamen, and
no, mate.
All right, there's a trilogy. Right, so first one's called Weird Stone of Brisingamen, and they're all about these children, a brother and sister, who are fighting against this witch. And you know, they go through like old myth kind of cycles, so like Cuchulainn and characters like that are in it. And then he writes a third one like about 30 years later, just before he dies, and it's like the boy grown up going to his therapist, and he's not able to really remember any of it, and they just think he was like nuts as a kid. And his sister disappears at the end of the second book fighting this witch, and he just never really finds out whether she did or whether she didn't, or if he's just lost his mind.
It sort of normalises it.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
Oh, I'm going to check those out. I like that, Frankie. All right, so then let me think about it, because I span out a little bit while we were talking about Ike and became a bit untethered from myself. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, like on sort of perhaps a more ordinary level, these moments of disruption that we seem to be experiencing, like the sort of the terrorism, the Grenfell Tower, which we spoke to Owen Jones about. Like, what do you think is revealed by these events? What do you think is becoming apparent? What is becoming manifest that's been previously concealed?
I think people are more widely recognising just how little this system that is supposed to nominally care for them can't even be bothered to pretend. And for some reason, there seems to be a difference between a government that's supposed to pretend to care and a government that can't even be bothered to pretend to care. You know, so the idea that the Grenfell residents got their rent deducted this month, for example. You know, the idea they tried to throw them out of their hotel. You know, they're in a Holiday Inn somewhere, and they tried to split them all up. And also there's a kind of media lag there, isn't there? So they don't know that they can't get away with that anymore in the days of social media. They don't know that they can't have a council meeting that isn't filmed at all because everybody's got a camera now. You know, so there's two things there, I think, which is like social media, for a long time has seemed to be like quite a kind of depressing seesaw of good and bad. Now seems to be like a net gain in protest movements, and just also the fact that our ruling classes, our elites, are way more out of touch than we'd imagined.
Yes, I see. So this, in a way, has become like is a revelatory symbol of that brings together numerous threads. Disconnection, total lack of concern, and an unawareness, in fact, of how quickly things can change. I thought one of the things that was notable and it struck me was that on the sort of Monday or whenever after the fire, Jeremy Corbyn was on TV going, you know, repossess houses, give them luxury flats. And that would have been, you know, a couple of years ago, that would have been mental and risible. And then by Thursday, Friday, that's what's happening. So there's almost there is a necessity to respond to a different kind of discourse.
It's also just like how it's almost novelistic. I mean, it's how kind of cartoonish the whole thing has been. So, like the head of housing at Kensington and Chelsea Council is a guy called Rockfielding Mellon, who's just kind of stood down. But he's like part of this like aristocratic family who his mother is some kind of mad old hippie who ran a couple of times for this party called Tree Panning for the National Health, trying to persuade everyone to like tree pan themselves to drill a hole.
Oh yeah, they drilled a hole in your head to help you relax.
Yeah, so she's got two sons. One is Rockfielding Mellon, the kind of straight arrow, and then there's Cosmo Fielding Mellon. Cosmo Fielding Mellon's done several documentaries about acid.
Oh my God!
And they live in this like Jacobean mansion, right? And it has Britain, or maybe the world's largest gravity fountain. So it has literally this enormous 300-foot high powerful jet of water shooting up like 24 hours a day. The one thing that could have extinguished the Grenfell fire is in the grounds of his ancestral home.
If only there was some way that we could have controlled the conflagration. One, a man would have needed something absurd, like a gravity-defying press conference over. So the solution was laying about in their garden. And the straight arrow is the one that's called Rockfielding
Mellon.
Amazing. Amazing. So yes, it's interesting when you talk before about like perhaps materialism and commodification being some extraordinary metaphor for ourselves understanding that we are spirit trapped in matter, because more and more I'm seeing a kind of dumb poetry in current affairs, like sort of where emblems such as the tower itself and then sort of ludicrous sub-narratives about fountains in the garden, as if somehow now a myth is appearing just beneath the veneer of superficial reality, like that something ulterior is trying to realise itself, some dreadful beast slouching towards Bethlehem to be born. Like, is there some optimism in this, like in events like this, on a sort of, I don't know, Frankie, this deep into the conversation, but on a practical level, do you think that this could precipitate change?
Absolutely, and there's loads of things to be positive about. Look at the incompetence of your enemies. Look at like the Tory cabinet, like Michael Fallon, a kind of living sigh, sent out to just sort of soak up shrapnel or something. He's just, tied onto a bus and driven at the media. Michael Gove, Boris is like they're just sitting there, can we replace this incompetent cunt with a massive cunt? No, we can't.
Yes, it is. I can see that there's cause for optimism there. What about you on a personal level? How is it being you? You all right? Are you happy in there? You've got love in your life and you've got like children and stuff, hey?
Yeah, I've got children, but I've been down in London doing this TV show on BBC Two, so I'm just like I'm quite missing my kids at the moment and feeling a bit like, how much longer can I do this?
How long have you had to do it so far?
I've been here for like months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What does it makes you feel, a little bit disconnected?
Yeah, and it just makes your writing a bit kind of automatic, because instead of like, I really want to say something about this subject, you're kind of going, I need 10 jokes for this week to try and get through.
This podcast is with Neal, Brennan, and Moshe Kasher. Sorry if I fucked that up, but with Damon Wayans Jr.
I mean, I think until I was 7. I remember the house is getting bigger around 7.
So when In Living Color started?
In Living Color started when I was 10.
Okay, so that's when he started doing
good. He
was
was traveling and
doing good on the road.
So were you aware? Because I'm a little older than you. I'm 35, and when In Living Color hit, it was like the biggest thing that all of the kids my age were.
And I feel like your
about.
dad was probably the biggest thing on it, right?
Yeah, he was pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, that was him, Jim.
Were you aware, though? Because you were what? You were 11, 12, 13. Holy shit. Because it would be something that you would have watched.
No, my dad was pretty strict growing up, so we never really got to watch. I didn't get to watch any of his stand-up. So kids used to come up to me and ask me about jokes. I never even knew what the jokes were. I didn't see his stand-up until I was 20 years old. And then in Living Color, the only way we could watch that is if we got really good grades.
And the thing is, they say you can do what you want to do in Living Color, but that's a lie.
It's a lie. I mean, I think that's Heavy said
you
that.
can't watch it.
And then
Heavy.
Heavy said that,
Heavy's not your dad.
and they killed him.
That's right.
Yeah.
So. He did a little too much of what he wanted to do, and he ended up.
Speaking of AIDS documentary, I don't even know what that means. He did
diabetes.
He did diabetes.
Okay. When you were 20, did you go to college?
I went to college for 1 year.
Where?
I went to Otis for...
what is that?
It's an art school. I wanted to be an animator and an illustrator originally.
Got it.
That's why I'm soft-spoken, because I didn't talk for a long...
Did it
I used to
seem
just draw and
hacky to want to be in showbiz when you decided?
Absolutely.
Were you just like, ugh, am I really going to be another fucking Wayans?
Absolutely. Hands down. I was just like, it was not for me.
All your childhood, the thought was, I'm not doing
it wasn't like a battle. It wasn't like, no. It was not interested in it. I was like, oh, that seems pretty cool. But I have no want to be famous. I have no want for people to know me and ask me to sign shit.
So why are you doing this, man?
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
Because I liked the art of being funny. I liked learning how to be funny, learning how to structure jokes, learning how to and go on stage. And if you kill that rush that you get, and then it just kind of unfolded from there. I started going on auditions and shit.
But take us before that. I mean, what was the sort of turning point where you thought, you know what, I maybe am interested?
My cousin Shantae, who was here, she told me she was going to go on stage, and I was like, all right, I'll try it. You know, I thought it was going to be easy. So I think I was 22. We went on stage, and
did you tell anybody?
No, we just went on, and I wrote like some stuff down.
Whose son or daughter is she?
She is. Do you know my cousin Damon? Do you know my cousin Damien?
I know of him.
That's her brother. And so their mom is Elvira. Elvira is
which from the '80s comedy scene.
From the
Elvira, the black
big
and white,
tits,
the huge tits, a wig.
Sure, we all know who Elvira is.
Queen, Mistress of the Dark. You mean?
Yeah, my favorite stand-up comedian of all time.
That's her daughter.
You're
literally joking.
No, but I got lost in my own bit.
Yeah, you did.
I got scared.
I'll go with the bit
dick right now.
I'll go with the bit right now. I'll go with the bit. Yeah. So there's 10 of those kids on my dad's family. So she's one of the 10.
Okay.
And then,
She was like, "I'm gonna do stand-up. You want to try it?"
And I was like, "Cool." Until we both went the same day, and I realized that it was a lot harder than it seemed.
How many seconds into it did you realize that?
The minute I got on stage. Literally the minute I got on stage. I didn't even stop to wait for people to laugh. So I would just say my joke, go to the next joke, go to the next joke just to get the fuck off. My ears were red as shit.
Yeah.
I wrote them.
You wrote them like when you were planning to go to the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But they introduced you by your full name, and so
No. I went on stage as Kyle Green.
Sure.
For a long time, for like 3 years, just to kind of get my own bearings.
That's cool.
So nobody would like either judge me too hard or laugh for no reason.
So when I look like Damon Wayans.
No.
I know what you're thinking. If Damon Wayans and my mother had a baby,
actually,
that's what it would look like.
I actually would stay as far away from that as possible, just so that I can literally try and make my own identity.
Yeah.
And on stage. And eventually I had to stop doing that because people kept going, "But that's Damon Wayans' son," in the middle of my punchlines. Like just loud black people, and I'm just like, all right. So
and it was like your cousins and shit doing that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that LA is 15% Wayans? The population of LA is 15%
That's an actual
Wayans.
fact.
Some of those Mexicans that like the Smiths
claim
are
Wayans.
Wayans.
They claim Wayans.
They claim Wayans.
They're from the Wayans district of Boyle Heights.
Yeah. So,
And how long did it take for you to get halfway decent?
it took me... Well, because I started going up every single day, so I felt like I got funny fast. And then my dad started taking me out on the road when I was not ready.
Rich, did you tell your dad first? Who'd you tell first? Sean Marlon?
They just
Elvira. Got it.
I feel like I told my dad first. I don't know. Yeah, I think I told my dad.
What'd he say?
And I just told him. I was just like, I have to give it up to you, man. This is like not an easy job. And I was like, you make it look way easier than it really is. It's just like to have to conquer those nerves initially was kind of...
you literally don't know what your body's going to do.
You don't. You don't.
have
And then like
no
you have all this
idea.
shit in your head. You're like, I'm going to say it like this, and they're going to laugh right there.
Yeah.
And then none of that happens.
Was your dad the first one that was really a stand-up in your family? Is that
Keenan was.
Keenan was.
Okay, got it.
But my dad followed suit like right after. Like he was on his toes.
Like a matter of months or years?
Yeah, on his heels. Months. Like he just saw him like on stage one day doing well, and he was like, "I want to do that."
But Keenan was better earlier, right?
Keenan was. I mean,
although your dad got on SNL when he was in like '84, right?
Yeah. It was like right after I was born. He had me when he was 22.
So fucking.
And then he just.
We'll get into that. You know how many kids he has?
Yeah.
Oh, how many?
A lot.
He
you
has.
You want to say?
I don't want to talk about it.
No, we won't talk about it.
Okay.
Oh,
No.
great. No, let's talk about it. Let's not talk about
come
it.
on.
Come on. Let's talk about shaving gel. Now, Harry's has this gel.
The Harry's has a condom.
What's a condom?
Harry's has a condom that will prevent both pregnancy and a mustache-inducing AIDS.
Can I ask why you don't want to talk about it? Other than
I mean, I just didn't know if it was going to segue into.
No. I don't want to talk about it. Other than
here's my thing: is I growing up. My dad used to just like obliterate us growing up, like stand up. That was his thing. Was claim to fame was he just talk about his family, and so I never wanted to like put my kids in that situation.
Did it hurt your feelings?
Only when people would like come and make fun of me and like quote it to me and like I'm trying to get bitches and she's like, wait a minute, aren't you the guy that like jerks off with spaghetti?
That is hilarious.
And it's just like
you still haven't even watched your dad stand up at this point.
At this point, you're
at
like,
this point, I know. Yeah.
How do you fucking know about the jerking off with spaghetti?
How do you know I don't watch it unless
Dad told me on television.
So I'm like losing pussy, missing out on, and it's just like at my most kind of like,
when you needed it most.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're jerking off into spaghetti.
Yes.
Yeah.
You needed pussy.
Nobody needs pussy more than
And
a
it's
guy
just,
jerking
just
off into
walking
spaghetti.
around and knowing everybody knows all your business is like
Right.
kind of weird when
That's
you're not
very weird.
famous at all.
I'm
You're not the one
interested in
that's
your
producing the business.
But the reason I'm not interested in your kids at all.
No,
I'm
I know.
interested in
No.
what having 5 kids is like.
It's
and-
just my 20s were literally like some of the worst years of my life
in terms of
just like
behavior.
No, behavior. Having kids back to back, and I was just like, making a royal mess of my life initially, and then I kind of got out of that.
I'm more interested in like
to me, that
what
just
it's
says
like
that you like very beautiful women.
Yeah, you got
They're attractive.
Yeah.
We
can all land good-looking chicks, right, guys?
No, but there is a difference between me, for example, a true pervert, and a guy like, I don't know you very well, but like, let's say a Dalia who loves women, but I feel like he loves 10s. And me, I've gone from, I like a 3.
Yeah.
I
respect all that.
Yeah, I'm just into the spectrum.
What I would say to that is you don't do enough spots at the store to see all of Dalia's.
Look, I'm not even saying. I'm just saying. I know that there's a certain kind of guy that what their goal is always gorgeous, and it was never my goal. It was always like sometimes I liked being with women that weren't that attractive. There's something I would enjoy about it.
I like attractive girls.
Yeah, and I think that it's
I'm like, what's the point? Because I don't because if it ends, I want to be able to like look back on that and be like, I'm proud of myself.
Trophy.
Yeah, trophy. But if I look back and it's like, why did I? Because you always wind up seeing them again, and then like fucking 3 is gonna look even worse 10 years down the line. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, just based on the notion of time itself.
Exactly.
Numbering. There's nothing funnier than numbering people,
and more horrible.
It's horrible.
I'm
It's
not
terrible.
proud of it, but
but I feel like guys are kind of like, we don't really matter. Like the number thing doesn't apply to us really. I mean, it can.
You're
but
not a 10. You're not a. You're not.
I don't.
It's like they don't.
I'm nothing. I'm literally I feel like our beauty is our wealth and our drive and our talent.
Right.
And then their beauty is physical.
Yeah.
And ours increases and theirs fades.
And
sorry, I'm actually jumping off a bridge.
But you obviously are connected to these women,
Absolutely.
and I don't mean like
no. They, I'm definitely a personality person. I can't vibe with a girl that's not funny. I can't vibe with a girl that's not like that takes themselves too seriously, or the ones that are just like, I'm pretty, and they're just dumb, and they just like sit there and
I feel like there's a lot of equivalent men in the world that are pretty and dumb.
Absolutely,
that get through
actors.
their 20s.
Absolutely.
And actors,
and I respect that because that's a strength. It's something that you can utilize to your
get a job at Crossroads as a nude figure model.
No, we didn't really have cute ones.
Oh, they were cute.
I was in 7th grade, so I didn't care. I couldn't see them. All I saw, they were so tall. They were just
What's up with this Butterface dude?
Butterface. I'm drawing this motherfucking Butterface.
You said something interesting to me, which surprised me in the meeting where I was shitting on everybody. You said that you used to fight a lot.
Oh yeah.
Does that not fucking surprise you?
Yeah, it does surprise me. Yeah.
Why? Who were you fighting, and why were you fighting them?
Okay, so
as a high school kid in LA, what do you do? Like, is it like any other town where you just drive around looking for shit to do?
Yeah, and then I had my group of white guy friends, and then I had my group of black guy friends, right? And somewhere down the line, I wound up hanging out with my white guy friends a lot less, and my black guy friends a lot more. And these black guy friends weren't necessarily, they weren't like whitewashed. They weren't like Crossroads kids. They went to Palisades High School, and they were kind of like.
Is that like? Does that have a gully aspect?
I mean, there are. It is. It's a public school, so like pretty much anybody can go. So there were kids that would like transfer from Crenshaw. The Crenshaw district there.
Got it.
There were some like hood cats there. And so I was like friends with those kind of guys, and it just got darker and darker, and
You mean they're the shade of people you would hang out with?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then when the dark comes, then they take
they
take into
because light skinned dudes be like
light skinned dudes be like
smoking meth with Yaphet Kotto. wondering where it all went wrong.
Well, can I ask you, did you ever, and no offense by this question, but did you ever feel that you were manufacturing angst or hoodness? Like you didn't grow up in that reality?
Yes, but when you're young and impressionable and you pretty much are the company you keep.
Yeah.
So I'm there.
It takes about 10 minutes to be like,
Yeah.
I am this.
Exactly.
And you could be a suburban white kid pretending
and no one's
to be.
telling you that you're not. No one's
Right.
like, they're encouraging it. They're like, this guy's a fucking idiot. Let's get darker.
And where would you go to fight people? Where were you hanging out?
About last night with Adam Ray and Brad Williams with Owen Smith.
Whenever Joe Rogan walks past me, someone feels the need to tell me how many like black belts he has, like how accomplished he is as like a fighter. It just comes up casually. They go, you know, he's a triple black, you know, and it's like it's legendary how amazing he is in self-defense. I don't really know him personally. I just
I don't understand why. Are you a big?
No, well, I'm getting to a point.
gotcha.
Like it's like so. Like whenever he walks by, somebody just goes, you know, basically, you know, he can fuck you up. Like it's basically that's in the air. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what his belts are. You guys may know specifically.
A lot, but like the guy walks by and you see Rogan, and it's not like it's a surprising thing.
Yeah,
it's not like Rogan's walking by as a twig, and you're like, did you know he actually has? It's like, no, you look at that guy, you're like, yeah, he could probably fuck me up without the black belts.
Yeah,
now he's a trained weapon. You're just putting a scope on top of a cannon.
Yeah,
It's like,
I don't
Jesus.
care what the color of the band that's holding up his pants is. Like he just looks like a big.
He
dude.
looks like a big dude. But so, my point is, when I was growing up, I got, you know, you get those trophies.
Yeah.
And one time, one of my trophies broke, and I didn't know there was a place where they made trophies. So we went to go get the trophies repaired, and I was like, oh shit, they got martial arts trophies. So when I say my allowance, I would just buy like martial arts trophies so that it would spread in the neighborhood that I could do that shit. And all I had to do was take one little lap with my trophy, and motherfuckers would be like, yo, you know, he could fuck you up. He be having them trophies with the little fighting men on it. And that's one of the things I used to do just so I could. And then fortunately, it never got to a point where a girl could be like, he could fuck you up. I never had to like.
I'm sure he had
use
those
it.
thoughts though, right? Like, God, what if I get in a position? No.
Yeah, man, but it was something about the power of motherfuckers. If somebody just saves
Just
somebody
knowing.
can fuck you up, it's a weird thing. So I was like, man, how much that trophy cost? You know what I mean? $25, shit. And I went and I would buy just one
Best
little trophy.
investment ever.
And I would start with a little one, and I just walk around the neighborhood.
And just
then
holding it?
in a couple more months, I get a little medium one. Well, just do a walk.
Now,
I don't say shit. I'm just walking.
Now, could people see what it was, or would they ask you? And then
The light. I would hold it up. I might stop and talk. Yeah, it was a little thing I do, little taekwondo, whatever.
On the
fuck it was.
side.
Yeah, man, but I don't want people knowing. I would just do that shit and walk out. And then
I don't want people to know as I'm carrying the trophy. As I pass my house, do another lap around the block.
That was it, man. That was it. That was my move.
Listen, I don't want people to know. I know I'm carrying this flashlight in my right hand, and I'm shining light on the trophy in my left hand. But I mean, that's just to keep it shiny. I don't know what you guys are talking about with me trying to brag about
was
this.
it. I was
Dude,
like,
that is so clever
that's what I used
because
to do, man.
as a kid, like, you get a trophy at the end of the year, you don't realize there's a trophy store. You just think like, well, there's a god of sports, and he looked down upon our team and said, you have earned this, my children, and gave us a It's like, no, you just go down to the damn store.
And also, we waste trophies. We get these trophies from the sports, and then you put them on a shelf, and they sit there, and nothing happens.
collect dust.
Point being, behind me, I mean, obviously, like now it's serving a great purpose.
Paid you back, brother. Come on now.
Hey, it's really,
I would love to do like a montage of all the lies she told about this trophy. All the different, you know, I was even that. That was even that.
Hilarious. Yeah. Well, you all right? Well, I'll from the Kickstarter if you want to make the documentary.
Let's do it.
But that you actually made a purpose out of it. Now for comedy, how did you? I mean, was your mom influential in that, or was your sisters
man.
like having all like?
Yes and no. Like I loved making. My mom is one of 8, so she is. So I had a lot of aunts. I had 6 beautiful aunts and 2 uncles. One of my uncles passed. And my whole family's from New Jersey on my mom's side, and they're just the best laughers, man. And they
remember like the first thing you ever did that like made every like I'm sure there's something where the whole family laughed at you, right? Where you did something.
Well, for me it was also like being from the Bahamas. Like I don't have thick eyebrows, and I just look different. I have a bigger forehead than most people in my neighborhood. So I'd be outside playing. We all black, but one kid would always be like, "Where are you from?" You look, where you from? I'd be like, I live over there, 5072. Nah, where you from? And I'd be like, I'm from the Bahamas. And I had a lisp and shit. From the Bahamas. You Bahama mania? Hey, y'all, he Bahama man. And so you had to learn how to like make fun of yourself and make fun of other people. And it was just, I developed that muscle like real fast. And then I just used to be funny. And I loved making people laugh. And it kind of kept them away from focusing in that I wasn't really from where they were, you know.
It's funny how real quick, sorry to interrupt, but like being the self-deprecation, how necessary that is as a kid, but you don't realize because you still you want to be accepted, you want to be a part. But if you just have a little bit of a sense of humor about yourself and can do it, make fun of yourself, not only does that put everybody at ease, but it's so like not a lot of kids do it. So it's an easy way to be accepted, and then also take the pressure off yourself of of being really sensitive about shit.
And you
that
learn your
matter.
limits. It's like you learn when you go too far. Like back when I grew up, Jerry curls were out, so it was a sensitive thing, but it was also it was a home run thing. You know, if I start in on this curl, I'm gonna have a good night. You know what I mean? I'm about to be legendary. But some people will be waiting for you in front of your building, like I ain't like all that shit you said about my curl.
Oh, shit.
So you had to figure it out. Like, did you see the trophy, motherfucker? You know, it's out there about me. You know, so it was
that's
like
the thing. You can't lead. It's like as a boxer, you don't just come in throwing the haymaker.
Nah.
You got to come in with a couple of jabs and set him up. So you got to always have that. You got to have that Jerry curl joke chambered.
Yep, have
just
it right there.
All right, like in emergency, break glass. If it gets to this point.
Yeah.
Before we get into more of just childhood comedy and how that got going, Bahamas, growing up there. So you spent how much time there?
Well, 9 months, and then my mom and
really?
dad split up. Yeah, they were married for 6 years, had me. My dad was, doing what he was doing, and my mom just had enough and just took me out of the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And I found out later that I don't want to say this on air, but I found out I wasn't taken out like legally because years later I'm kicking it with my dad.
Yeah.
And I found out in the passport office, my dad was like, "You should get a Bahamian passport because it's hot right now for Americans, and I don't want you to be overseas." And they see your American passport and they fuck with you. I was like, oh yeah, let's go do it. So we go down there, hey, and I had a lot of commercials running at the time, so I was like, yeah, let's go do it. And I went in, and it was the easiest passport process ever because we had to contact a relative who worked in because the Bahamas is very slow with bureaucratic red tape. Like when you go there, that you slow down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were able to call somebody, and I guess
Island time is real.
Island time is very real. So I was able to go down there and get my birth certificate, a copy of it, really quick to prove that I was born in the Bahamas, and I was born right before they got their independence, which means all my children. When I have children, they can become Bahamian citizens if they choose.
Right.
Really?
So I was born in 73, and Bahamian Independence Day is 7973. So 6 days right before this, when they were still a British colony, right? So we go in, and I got a new picture. I was very happy at the picture. I was like, this is gonna be a dope passport. Go right through, and this lady goes, "How'd you get into the Bahamas? How'd you leave the Bahamas?" And I was like, it was my dad. He was messing up, and my mom just, took me. How'd you get out of the Bahamas? My mom on a plane. Obviously, I was 9 months, and my dad was like, "This is bullshit. Let me talk to your supervisor." So they put us in a smaller room, and another lady comes in. How'd you get out of the Bahamas? It's like, again, my plane, airplane.
9 months old. Don't exactly
I'm 9.
have
I
a
don't remember.
photographic memory of the
I don't know what I
situation.
did. I was 9. I just went where the people. So I call my mom on the side. I go, "Mom, we in this passport office, and I'm trying to get a passport." And I hear my mom. It's only one other time my mom yelled this much. She was like, "Get the hell out of there now!" Like you hear it coming through the phone. I go, "All right, so we're gonna go." And then I go, and I had a little bit of ego with it. I was like, maybe when I become, famous enough, they'll let me, just get a passport here. And she goes, "Oh, I know who you are, Shark." She did one of my commercials right to my face.
Get out.
Yeah, right to my face.
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, I know who you are, Shark." So I had this commercial where my arm gets bitten off by a shark.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And so apparently in their system, I was not released. And so I was scared. I didn't know if I'd have to stay there and all this other shit.
Do you start to fantasize about, wow, maybe I just start a new life in the Bahamas? Like maybe.
Nah, that hasn't. No, it hasn't gotten to that point. But I just remember, what the fuck happened, Ma? And it said she doesn't really talk about that time. You know what I mean? It's just like she's like, I did what I had to do. So
Well, like, and in addition to the stuff that's going on with your family, I would almost look at that situation of you getting out of the Bahamas for your career as a good thing, because I know that if I was raised in the Bahamas, I wouldn't be doing jack shit.
Oh no, I know,
because it's beaches and it's
crazy.
It's beautiful people everywhere, and it's just like, why would I work really hard? Like
paradise.
Yeah, like people work really hard to get to a place like this. Like I'm good.
Here.
Yeah, your Jerry Curl bits probably aren't going to hit as
they're
hard.
not
on
gonna land. Although they might still have them there.
It's slowly getting through.
Slowly.
Like they're only on Karate Kid 2.
They still
over
think
at
Will
the
Smith
Bahamas.
is still rapping over there.
Like, have you heard this fucking just the two of us?
Right.
This is great. Welcome to Miami. It's right there. It's the best. That's our jam.
Yeah, man.
What music were you into as a kid?
As a kid, man, I was into my cousin Daniel, man. He was like my big brother. He introduced me to Run DMC, and I was so into that hip hop era, like, and we used to break dance in the neighborhood. And I was in the R&B. The first concert I saw was New Edition.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
If
man.
it is love.
Yeah, man. New Edition, man.
How was that?
It was insane.
Oh,
it
my
was
God.
me, Boo, Mirando, Preston. My mom took us. My mom was like she was the community. She would
Good
take
for
us
her,
to practice
man.
and back. She was there, man. And so we saw New Edition, and we came home, and we formed the R&B singing group. Me,
What?
Boo, Mirando, Preston, and I want to say Cross-Eyed Craig and or Fat Adrian.
Wait, what?
Was subbed in. Yeah,
Cross-Eyed
man.
Craig?
Yeah,
This is
Cross-Eyed
why we
Craig,
grew
man.
up wrong, Brad.
Dude.
Our friends are
Dude.
like Matt and Steve.
Nah,
Right.
man, I had the best friends. They had the best names ever, man. Me, Boo, Preston, Mirando, Cross-Eyed Craig, my man DeMartius.
I didn't have a lazy eye Larry or anything like that.
Cross-Eyed Craig's a barber too. Now it's phenomenal.
Wait, he cuts hair and he's
Cuts
got a cross
hair,
eye?
but everybody know he's the nicest. So
Yeah.
but if you knew, you'd be like, yo, but
Right.
he's the nicest with it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, see, we had like Weird Titty Jill because she had like one titty that was bigger than the other in sixth grade.
This is a great name.
We had like fucking, Big Boob Brenda, which she had just big boobs in like the fourth grade. It was like
beautiful.
Basically, they're all revolved around boobs. That's it.
Well,
that's pretty much all the
what I
funny
grew up on.
nicknames had.
That's what brought me into this world.
Yeah, people call me Lil Brad, and I'm like, really, Lil Brad? That's the best you could do.
That's hilarious.
Lil Brad, you
That's-
can't
that's-
spend 5 minutes, maybe workshop something, get something out.
Start a workshop.
Yeah, like
do
you
a think tank.
not come up with a better nickname than Lil Brad.
Oh,
like,
man, no, our nicknames are legendary.
now if they call me that, people think I'd be a rapper or something like
Yeah,
that. Like, yo,
shit,
man,
yeah.
this Lil B, he's got that hot joint.
Yeah, you was ahead of your time, man.
What was the name of your group?
Oh man, I don't know if we had a name. We patterned after New Edition, but we used to go around the neighborhood and sing it. I gotta ask Boo because Boo, his real name is Alfred Antonio Duncan. Thank you, folks, for listening. Tune in next week for more podcasts of all podcasts.
Why must we stay where we don't belong? Why must we stay where we don't belong? Because there's never gonna be enough space. So eat the meek, savor the taste. It's always gonna be a delicacy. So lick your chops and eat the meek. Why must we stay where we don't belong? Why must we stay where we don't belong? Don't belong. The factory mass producing fear, bottle cap distributed near and far.
injected direct to the blood. It seems to be replacing love. Why must we stay where we don't belong? Why must we stay where we don't belong? Don't belong. Because they're always gonna be talking truth. Forgotten code, discarded youth. You know there's always gonna be pedigree. One known the air, one paid to breathe. Why must we stay where we don't belong? Why must we stay where we don't belong? Why must we stay where we don't belong? We don't belong.